is GrandMaster Timur Gareev. Today I'll be running a little experiment and show you guys the best tournament I've ever played, which took place in Las Vegas just a few weeks ago. And then I will go on to compare that to the tournament that I played yesterday and show you guys what you gotta do to succeed and mistakes you want to avoid to get your game to the next level. As we go along, I'll be pointing out interesting concepts that will help you improve your game both positionally and tactically. A lot of times there's tons of psychology involved in making progress, so as a finishing outline, I'll be summarizing the concepts that will allow you to get better. A lot of times I'm asked the question of, well, how do you get stronger and how do you become a grandmaster? Well, I'm gonna give you guys certain concepts that will allow you to improve your game one step at a time and develop those essential habits that will eventually allow you to become a grandmaster or reach the goal that you desire in chess.
Hello, we're gonna start out with this dynamic example. I'm facing Alexander Shabalov in US Chess Championship playing with white pieces. I encounter an opening surprise, and I'm gonna break it down for you guys how I come up with my solutions. So similarly to think like a grandmaster, I will be breaking it down piece by piece what it takes to play the best move in a position. A lot of it is going to be positional, and at the same time a lot of the decisions are going to be tactical as well. So hopefully we're going to have a really nice balance going on. So let's start with the opening. My opponent chooses e6, tempting me to get into some French situations which I have little idea about, but I play c4, which is pretty standard for d4 players. Now knight f6, knight f3, and c5. Here I used to play g3 in this position. I'm sure my opponent was well prepared. Every time I play him the opening moves he plays fairly quickly. Really well prepared chess player, plays every single opening in the world. And here we're going to be playing Benoni. g6. Here in this position of white plays d6, white can continue e4. And the trick is, if knight takes e4, then black has a real nice tactics, and it's not queen e2, because after queen e2, queen e7, but queen a4, and the knight is gone right there. So this is a little trick right here, and d6 is fairly logical, but this is not something black generally wants to allow, because I think there's a more flexible structure, and the knight can jump to d2 quite a bit, defending the knight on f3 and having the possibility to jump to c4, being supported by a4. So here g6 is the way to go. Knight c3, now d6, and bishop goes to f4. So this move puts pressure on d6. For you guys who are just starting out, I would just suggest instead of trying to get to understand everything, just pay attention to how the pieces come out. So you can see at this point I'm developing, I have 3 pieces developed, and there's the pawn right there in the center, which is fairly obvious. So I create this open space right here. Obviously white is ahead in space, ahead in development, 3 pieces versus just 1 piece right here. So black develops the bishop, and here I play a slightly mysterious check right here, queen a4. The idea is that however, well, for one thing, black doesn't want to move the king, that's for sure. Now if black can block with 3 of these pieces, but each one of those moves is gonna have a disadvantage, especially the fact that d6 is hanging, making it difficult for black to coordinate in this situation. My opponent plays bishop d7, hitting the queen, and now 2 spots are hanging, the b7 and d6 right here. So here logically queen c7 is the way to go. So you would ask, well, why was the check useful? Now it's not knight b5. The knight b5 would actually help black. Then bishop takes, and now black's knight comes to a natural position where this bishop is blocking the knight from coming to d7. So that's the whole point. Now, instead of playing queen c7, all of a sudden my opponent plays b5. Now, that shouldn't be a surprise for me because there's been many games played for black in this position. However, that was a surprise for me, and that's the first time that I ever saw that move, b5. So certainly a typical tactical idea. Black is looking to gain initiative, and I have an option of capturing either b5 or d6. So here's the question, or maybe not capturing at all and continuing my development. So let's consider the last option. So let's say I play e3 right here. Now the challenge is that black is going to build up this this attack, and the very unpleasant move is well, actually b4 is not so easy to deal with either, because now the knight, where should it go? If it goes to a4, well, here I'm losing this knight straight away. If knight goes to b1, let's say, which looks like a terrible square, but it's actually not that bad, because knight is going to want to go to d2 towards c4. Now this position doesn't seem to be that bad for white. The challenge is, well, for example, if knight e4, this works out perfect for white. Knight d2, and then one of the knights is going to reach c4. On the other hand, black could try to do something like a5 with the idea of pushing a4 and a3. d5 is still vulnerable, and this could be a little bit tricky right here. So, and also after e3, c4 is not so pleasant, because now b4 is still a threat. d5 is going to be hanging here. If queen goes to b4, potentially there's a5, knight a6 type stuff, followed by b4. Black could just castle and have all those threats coming right there. So this is a big challenge right there. So I can certainly pick up the d6 pawn, but then I might get punished for it. So very soon you realize that you actually got to accept one of those pawns sacrificed by black. And here I go, capturing the pawn on d6. So that was an opening surprise for me, but my opponent played it immediately. I didn't take that long to figure it out, but it still took me 15 to 20 minutes to play out all the moves. Now that's not too bad. One thing you don't want to do is tank and just sit there and waste your time just thinking about the possibilities. A lot of times you see an opening surprise that is kind of may seem a little bit dangerous. Here, for example, b4 is the threat, c4 is some ideas, knight jumps to e4, d6 may be vulnerable, queen goes to b6. All sorts of ideas that are easy to overlook opportunities by black. On the other hand, you don't want to lose the game momentum, because if black gains momentum as you're taking too long to figure things out, you're at the disadvantage. So how do you play quick enough facing an opening surprise? Well, a lot of times you want to lower your